When I was in high school, I thought I knew what it meant to be a leader. I did all the things that leadership kids do. I was in sports, I was a captain, I went on missions trips, I was a part of FCA and youth groups. I did all these things that everybody said that leaders do. But it wasn't until I got to college that I understood what leading by example was actually all about. There was this dude at our school who was like 6'6", he could jump out of the gym, he was one of the best high school players in the state of Kansas, he played at my university, and I'd heard all these rumors about him, but I hadn't really got a chance to meet him. And it was our first scrimmage. I was really excited, super fired up, and I didn't play very well. And I was always one of those dudes who was so passionate that when I messed up or I made a mistake, I was really vocal about it. I would get really upset. And we lost, I played terrible, I stormed off the court, kicked the basketball, screamed a bunch of words that you wouldn't want your grandma to hear you say, and I walked back into the gym, and when I got back into the gym, this dude met me in the gym, and he put his hand on my shoulder, he looked me right in my eyes, and he just said, "We don't do that here." And those 5 words, "We don't do that here," it felt like this just like punch in my soul. Like it was almost like spiritual. I felt small, I felt insecure, I felt intimidated, I felt like I didn't even know what I was doing, and his intent wasn't to make me feel that way, it was just, he was right. And there was so much honesty in what he said. And what he was trying to do was set a standard for what athletes did at our university. And the more I paid attention to him over the time that I got to play with him, the more I realized this dude didn't talk much, he just lived by example. The way that he carried himself, the way that he walked around our campus, he just had this aura about himself that screamed, that guy's a leader, not by what he's saying, but by what he's doing. He was the ultimate example of someone who just lived it. And I think for a lot of you guys, that's what you struggle with. You know the right words to say, you know what to say to make you sound like a leader and make you sound like you know what you're talking about. If we looked at what you actually do, sometimes it's hard to find evidence of leadership. I know kids at your school are in leadership positions who don't deserve to be there. You've got kids who are leading because their parents are rich or because of what their older brother and sister did before them. You've got kids who are leading because they're just charismatic, more outgoing. Some of the most influential people in your school aren't actually the best leaders. The best leaders are the ones who can talk about it and who can live it. And maybe you don't think you need to lead by example. Maybe you don't think this matters to you. But let me tell you why it's so important that you understand this. You all want to be taken seriously. You all want to have your idea happen. You all want people to follow you someday. And if you can't live by example, people aren't going to take you serious. One of the things I respected the most about this dude was not only did he hold himself to a standard, but he held the rest of us to a standard as well. And that's what the best leaders do. They don't just expect people to lead by example, they expect everyone around them to live the same way, because leadership is contagious. Leading by example, I truly think that's how you set a culture. You want to set a culture on your sports teams, you want to set a culture in your classroom or in your schools. It starts when the leaders in your schools don't just talk about leadership, they go out and they live these things. They live humble, they live kind, they live selfless. That's where true leadership is at. It's easy to talk about those things. It's easy to talk about forgiveness. It's easy to talk about compassion. It's hard to live out those things. And one of the things I respected most about him was he lived it every day. He was the dude on the team everyone talked to when they had relationship issues. He was the dude on the team when everyone was struggling academically. You went to him for advice. The reason that we always went to him for advice was because we trusted him and we respected him. And I think a lot of you guys, you want to be trusted and you want to be respected, but it's not going to come from the words that you say. It's going to come from the things that you do. There's a trust that comes from actually doing what you say. And for a lot of you, that's where you struggle. You talk a big game on Twitter. I've been in a lot of your schools. You love to talk about the things you're going to do. You love to tweet about the things that you're going to do. But then when I pay attention to your life, it doesn't really seem like you're living out the things that you say. The best leaders, they know how to live and lead by the example that they want to set.